Hi, family of light. So, after getting a ton of downloads last week, this week's been relatively quiet. What they said they want us to focus on this week is just like back to basics. So, staying in non duality, well, that's what I've been translating it as, but it's really more multidimensionality is a better term for it. So, just not limiting ourselves as far as perspectives. Trying to see things in a new way when it comes to all the information. The other thing is the timelessness thing. I mean, this is something that came through in the fall. I took down my clock, and I don't really ever wear a watch, but this is also like, okay, so when I receive information, like my brain wants to categorize like Lyrians as in the past and the Zetas as in the future, but we really have to just start paying more attention to the now. So that's one message for the week, but last week it was crazy. That's another thing. See, I'm trying to, not crazy, there's just levels of sensitivity. Anyway, so yeah, our bodies are like rebuilding themselves. There's a lot of stuff to process mentally and physically. Okay, so last week I got a lot of information, not just wake state, sleep state, at work. A lot of stuff having to do with 12D. It's interesting, and it does have to do, like, I woke up with this message that said, this was like a dream message that I got at like 2 or 3 a.m., and I'm like, I'll remember it. And I actually did when I woke up in the morning, which is crazy. So it was the first time I actually got alien information in my sleep, so that was cool. So they said, your Zeta will be, no, yes, what is it? Oh, I will be helped by my own little me in the same way that my Zeta will be helped by the tree. And I was like, first of all, I was like, I have a Zeta? Because, like, I've interacted with a being who seemed kind of like an android, and I wasn't sure. And then I was like, wait, what tree? So that took me like a day to process what tree. I'm like, is it the tree in the backyard? Is it the tree in the front yard? What tree? So eventually I realized that that was like a Christmas tree. I think I'm gonna cut the video and just like clip to some images now because my arm is tired. But yeah, I'll keep talking. Have a great day, guys. So this was last Friday morning. Then when I woke up, I'm like, well, if I'm getting information about her, maybe there's an open channel right now. So it's like, just, hi, what's up? How are you? So I got her name. Her name is Nevo. And yeah, she told me that she presented herself to me as like an attractive female android, A, because she didn't want to scare me, and B, because like she actually wanted to present herself in a way that I would find attractive, which is weird for a Zeta. And this was a big problem for her all along her whole life stream. And this goes back, yeah, this was like, I guess you could say my first soul retrieval or whatever, but anyway, like this goes back through an Olympian timeline, which I met my Olympian who's named Roanna, and she's very cool. She's an Amazon. There's a whole crazy connection there. But yeah, so she just decided to show herself as like an avatar version of an android to me. But that's not what she looks like. She looks like a typical Zeta. Zeta Reticulan. So yeah, so her world, I eventually figured out that she lives in 12D, which is another free will zone, just like my blue avian. So she had some problems because, like, basically in their society still, if you are very emotional, or if you're really at all emotional, which is crazy because like 12D is so advanced, but like if you have too much emotion, they think you're basically broken. And this has been a problem for her. So that's what the whole tree thing was about. And it's funny, like, the things that she latches on to, because they do come from the human race originally, according to my information, and the things that they've lost, though, they, like I mentioned once, just the word Amazon to her, and that, like, connected so many things, because Amazon. It has to do with the internet, and it has to do with actual Amazons. And she was like, oh my gosh. And so that was one thing. And then, like, the tree, I was like, well, what tree? And, like, how it works sometimes with the claircognizance and the clairvoyance is that, like, do you remember the old school, like, maybe not 80s cartoons, but even sometimes now in cartoons, but not as much with the not with the digitally animated ones, but the drawn ones. Like, there'll be a whole wall of, like, red doors or something, and the one door that you know the characters are going to go through is almost like a different, brighter red, a slightly different red. It's, like, highlighted differently. Well, that's how it works sometimes with the clairvoyance. So this was actually some information I pulled through at work. I'm, like, sitting there because my internet's not working, and I'm like, what tree? And I'm, like, scanning my memory for anything that's popped out. And I know it's holiday season, but the Christmas trees are, like, there's, like, not just regular beautiful Christmas trees, because those always stand out. But there is one, like, kind of looks like the tree in the picture I'm going to put up. It's, like, of a tree on the back of my grandparents' door, and it's, like, a, not even flimsy, but, like, a cheesy looking, like, old decoration thing, and it's got levels to it. That's how they, like, connected it with, like, yarn or something, I don't know. And that was very highlighted in my mind. And I'm like, oh, it's a Christmas tree. All right. How could that make sense? So I'm like, because I still don't know at the time if she was, like, 12D or 13D or what's going on with that. But I'm also sensing that, and it does feel a little more night-sided. If you know about the history with the Zeta Reticulans, they don't get a great reputation, which they're not evil, they just don't get emotion. And so yeah, so the Christmas tree thing, and I'm, like, looking at the whole, because I cheat with the outline that I got from Unite the Collective, at his whole framework, and I'm like, well, what's above that? So 14D is the solar beings. And I'm like, oh crap, that's like the star on top of the Christmas tree. I mean, in the solar being level, you become a sun, you become a star. And that's on the night side, so that would be her next ascension level. And then I get the download, and it's like, for her, she's looking at herself almost like she's gonna be the star on the top of the tree, and every single other one down is gonna end up being like ornaments to her, and that's her framework. So this is not information that you want to go just telling your Zeta right away, either if you have one. They monitor information very carefully over there, and that was another thing too. Like, you don't want to get them so just be careful with how you relay the information, but it is something that will help them to ascend, so that's very cool. Alrighty, and then the other information that I received that has to do with all of this is, like, again, everyone wants to think of, like, the Archons and the Anshar, the inner earth and all that as bad again, and that's such duality consciousness. Like, we're beyond this, guys. We're in multidimensionality. There's no old framework for that anymore. And, like, really, why would beings that are monitoring our timelines be doing this for nefarious purposes? Like, they're monitoring it so that we don't go in a bad direction. They're monitoring it so that, like, we reach our higher timelines. So yeah, they're not evil. They're trying to prevent us from going too much the way of technology. And yeah, so that's all the information I pulled in last week. It was a lot. But now this week they're basically like, just try to be a little more open-minded when it comes to time and dimensionality. Alrighty, that's what I got. I love you guys. Mwah, mwah. Blessings and better tomorrows. Bye.